There we go. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful session. Today, I have the wonderful privilege of bringing on my friend Morgan, who is a real estate agent and author from Toronto. And Morgan, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and give a lot of the information about your background and talk about your family coming, from a real estate background.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Huong. It's an honor to be here. So my name is Morgan Byrne. I'm a real estate agent in Toronto in the GTA area. So I've been an agent for about 4.5 years now, and I actually grew up with a real estate background. So not only my grandfather, but also my father and also other family members like my stepmom are all agents. Yeah, so I've been around the real estate field for probably about almost 30 years now. And yeah, I'm very interested in helping others invest and getting that freedom. So I came up with the idea of investing into student rentals in Windsor, and I actually have one going successfully right now. And now I'm looking for other partners that would like to come in, and they would also like to have some really great cash flow and also make some great equity too. So I think what we're really going to be talking about is joint ventures. And I'm really happy Huong was able to give me this platform because I think it's a great way to invest without doing all the heavy lifting yourself.
Okay, fantastic. So now before I share my screen and bring up the document that we're going to go into a little bit more detail to give an example of how joint ventures are, can you give sort of like a big general overview about joint ventures and why they're a benefit?
So with any investment purchase, especially when you're bringing in more than one person, it's really important to define everybody's roles. So I find with joint ventures, even though maybe in some certain investment situations, maybe not everybody's name is on the mortgage, or maybe not everyone's name is necessarily on different things, right? Like the lease agreements and stuff like that. You can definitely have an agreement drawn up by a lawyer, of course, that really outlines everybody's roles and what everyone's entitled to, just so that no matter what investment you're getting into, you know exactly what the expectations are of yourself and what your own expectations are of the investment in terms of returns are. So I think a joint venture is a really smart way to invest with other people, especially friends and especially family. You really want to get everything written down, because you don't want any conflicts to happen later on. So I think it's a good way to insert a legal aspect into investing.
Okay. All right. So now when you talk about the legal contract, this is, and then you mentioned about being on title. So for some of our listeners or watchers, they don't know what that means. So can you break it down into a little bit more steps for them?
Sure. So, and we'll get into a better example when we go over my my outline too, but just as a general explanation. So there's different roles required for investing, and people bring different things to the table. For example, with what we're going to be looking at today, one partner A, is able to get the mortgage. So this is great for people that maybe don't have great credit, but they do have some money saved up and they could be a capital partner. Okay. So while the mortgage and the title would be in the name of partner A, partner B is also very integral to this investment because they're going to be actually bringing the funds. So, but when they bring the funds, they want to make sure that they know exactly where their funds are going, exactly what they can expect in terms of returns, and exactly what's expected of them throughout the time that they own the property. So I think that's the great thing about JV is everybody has a role and it's explained and there's an exit strategy.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So I'm just gonna make notes because I want to make sure that we cover all of the points. So now, one of the things that the abbreviation that you use was JV. So JV stands for joint venture. So for those of you who are listening, that's what that means. Now in this scenario, we're talking about partner A and partner B. And so, like you mentioned, each of those people have individual roles. So now, from a legal point of view, would you recommend that that when they buy this property, that it goes under partner A's name only, or would they create a corporation, and then partner A and partner B would be part of that corporation, and that would be the corporation that's on the purchase?
I think it really depends what different people bring to the table, right? It may be a bit of a liability to have a certain person on the name of the title and on the name of the mortgages. So in that case, you want to make sure to put your best foot forward. And if there is one person that has really good credit, has really good background, has good, strong employment, as opposed to maybe someone self-employed, then that could be a really good way to get a better rate, and that benefits everybody involved.
Yeah.
So it's good to have everything written down, but in the traditional sense of maybe having someone on title, that might be a little bit better for some people, but in other cases, a joint venture outlining everything will be better.
Okay, perfect. So now before we get into the document, let's say I have a client and they want to get invested in real estate, but none of their family and friends are interested in real estate. So how would they even find this other partner to partner with?
I think we're living in such a great time right now, with social media and with just being able to access people and really communicate with people a lot more than we used to be able to, right? So, I think just also starting with putting your intentions out there and saying, hey, I have an idea and I want to get maybe some funding, or I want to have someone come in and be the person that gets the mortgage. Just putting that out there and really starting a conversation, talking to people, maybe doing networking groups. There's so many ways to find people out there. And, and if the deal is right, my aunt always says, then the financing will follow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So let me bring up the document that you shared with me, because I was really interested in what you presented. And so this is one of the reasons why I wanted you to be able to share it with everybody so that we can get more information on it. So this is the document that you sent me. So just let me know how as you're talking through it, I'll move through the pages.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so VBS Property Investments is a company that I incorporated earlier this year. So I do a lot of my short-term rentals through this company, and then I also help other people find investment properties. Okay. So I work for RE/MAX Hallmark as a real estate agent, and then I also do my specialty work finding specific investments through my investment company. So that's where the VBS Property Investments comes from. Okay. And then if we go down, so this is a joint venture partnership investment proposal. So a partnership in this case is going to be between two people, and then the joint venture means we're coming together and making a legal document and a legal agreement about how we are going to facilitate owning this asset.
So now just to point out, so this particular property is in Windsor, and this one has already sold, right? So we're just using this as an example though.
Yeah, so this is kind of more of an example than something we could do in real life, but not to worry, there's actually a lot of opportunities very similar to this on the market right now.
Okay.
So we'll just do a little introduction. So basically the idea with this property is it's a 4-bedroom home, a 4-bedroom bungalow in the student rental area of Windsor, Ontario. And what I want to do is purchase this home and facilitate it into a high-end 6-bedroom student rental. So what we'll have to do is renovate the basement and add 2 bedrooms. So that's included in the construction costs a little bit lower.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go down there so that people can get a better idea of what the house looks like on the inside.
Yeah. So this is a great example of a house to buy just because a lot of work has already been done on it. The main thing, and if you see the bottom picture, the 5th picture there, the main thing would be creating 2 bedrooms out of that basement. Because in order for this model to work, we want to have high cash flow. So the cash flow on this, we're doing 6 bedrooms, renting them furnished at $600 per bedroom. And this is actually really within market rent in Windsor right now. Furnished bedrooms for student rentals are renting anywhere between $550 and $750 a month. Okay. And so that's including all the utilities and everything. So 6 bedrooms is our target, and we want to be renting them out for $600 per month. And then it also says, so at the end of the 3 years, the property will either be sold, one partner can buy the other out, or the partners will continue to run the home as previously agreed. So this section in the joint venture would be the exit strategy. We really want to nail that down with whoever we invest with before getting into anything, right? Just so we know what we're doing.
Right. So now you mentioned a 3-year term. Is that sort of the lucky number, or can it be like a 5-year term, or is there a period of duration that is at least recommended?
That's a good question, Hong. And I think that's really open to debate based on what other people's investment goals are, right? I think 3 years is the sweet spot for holding a property. Then you can really see where it's going, how it's been to manage it. It's not too short of a time that you don't really know what it's like to manage it and what it's like to be the owner of the home. And then at the same time, you can kind of see where the market's going a little bit. And then I think it's easier to determine whether you want to stay in it or buy the other person out or sell it. It also gives you a good chunk of cash flow so that if one partner wanted to buy the other partner out, they could even use the cash flow they've made to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So here's the joint venture partnership section. So a joint venture partnership is a business entity created by two or more parties, generally characterized by shared ownership, shared returns and risks, and shared governance. A legal contract will be created that outlines the responsibilities and expectations of each partner, as well as how the profit will be shared. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of info on a JV. And then, yeah, so we have partner A and partner B broken down here. So partner A, there's a couple more things with partner A that I can add as well. So basically, they're going to be obtaining the mortgage in their name. In this section, I also thought that it would be appropriate for partner A to facilitate all the building in the basement. So they're going to have to be the person that's on site, kind of taking a hands-on approach to it. They're also going to be doing the property management in the beginning. So initially finding the tenants and initially answering any questions that tenants may have as they're moving in. Those are kind of be the three responsibilities of partner A. Okay. So obtaining the mortgage, facilitating the repairs of the basement and the building of the basement, as well as getting the property management started.
Okay, gotcha.
And then, so partner B is solely a capital partner. So they need to provide funds for the 20% down payment and the closing costs, and as well as the funds for furnishing the home, as well as renovating the basement. So we said renovating the basement was probably going to be between 10 and 15,000. This is after speaking with about 5 people in Windsor that are able to actually do the renovations. So I find that's a pretty fair amount. So 10 to 15,000. And then also the 20% for the down payment for the mortgage. Yes. And then as well as some extra for closing costs as well. And then for furnishing the home too is on there.
Okay. So now the furnishings would be because it's student rentals.
Yeah. So we're going to rent them furnished. I find that's a lot better than renting it unfurnished. It's just a very turnkey operation, keep the same furnishings in there. And it's a lot easier for students as opposed to bringing their own bed all the way from maybe Toronto or where they're from.
Okay. So now the students that would be staying there, are we talking about a 1-year lease, or are we talking just for the school year? So then there would be the summer months where it wouldn't be rented out at all.
I feel confident enough that the popularity for these student rentals, we can actually get someone to rent it for the entire year. We could maybe add a subletting clause with approval from the landlord, just to be fair, in case students do have to go away. They're not spending 4 months of rent on a property that they're not there for. We could do that. Or, and this is kind of a next level idea. Windsor is so busy in the summer with all the festivals, with the casino, with all the attractions. You could even do a short-term rental situation for the 4 months that you don't have students. So that's for kind of a more adventurous investor that really wants to maximize the cash flow that they're bringing in for the property. There's also certain risks associated with that as well that might not be for every investor. So that's open for discussion as well.
Right. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, is that, while you have these furnished rooms, you could target students, but you could also in the summer months do Airbnb.
Yeah.
As well, right? So it's not just a one strategy and that's it, right? Like it's good to have multiple strategies working at the same time.
Depending on how much risk you want to take on, and depending on how much cash flow you're desiring per year overall, I think that could be definitely a great strategy as well. There's a very strong community for Airbnb in Windsor as well.
Okay, good. So now the so with partner A, that would be somebody who would sort of be hands-on with it. So now, ideally then that person would live in Windsor then. Is that correct?
I think it's possible that they can live in Windsor, or at least they have the flexibility that they can be in Windsor either a couple weeks out of a month or a couple days out of a week. Because yeah, they definitely want to be on the ground. They definitely want to be overseeing it, almost like a contractor, actually, just to make sure that the work is on time. Because there's a very certain window that we have to have all of the work done by, and that's by August 1st or even September 1st, because that's when the students have to move in. We really don't have a lot of room to play with that. I would say, yeah, between August 1st and September 1st, all the work has to be done. It has to be furnished. It has to be ready to go.
Right. Right. Especially now where we are in the sort of the spring start of the summer, now is the time to start looking and financing and getting all that done so that you can start advertising for the students for the 1st September.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So the timing of this is perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you also mentioned, about the 3-year time frame. So now, would you suggest then that partner A would obtain a variable mortgage, or because a lot of times the typical mortgage that somebody would get would be a 5-year fixed?
Yeah. I think that, variable mortgage would be good. We'll hope that the rates stay low because that would benefit us. But I think, being in a closed mortgage, we definitely don't want to have those penalties trying to get out of it, because that really adds to our costs, right? So I think there's that. A lot of the things in Windsor too is they don't really have B lenders that'll lend in Windsor. So it's either bank lenders or it's private mortgages. So with private mortgages, you can have a little bit more wiggle room. You could even maybe negotiate a 3-year rate with them, depending on who the private financer is. So that's another option as well. We have to account for that maybe being a higher rate for sure. Privates right now are between 8 and 15%. But hopefully using Partner A's connections, hopefully they also have mortgage connections and they can get someone in as a private lender for something closer to 8 as opposed to 15.
Okay, gotcha. So with that said, it's always recommended that with either partner, they seek independent legal counsel, and then they also talk to a mortgage broker or an agent just to make sure that they have all that stuff lined up, right?
I think partner A would probably have that more in their court, just because hopefully if they're going to be getting a mortgage, then they know their options, they know what they're able to do with their financing. And obviously it would be discussed with partner B at every step of the way. And we would say, okay, now we found a private, it's for 8%. Do you feel comfortable about that if we show you the numbers and they still break down to a good amount of cash flow per month?
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So now where would you like me to go in this document?
You know what, we can do the profit projections, and then we can go down to monthly expenses there. So the profit projections for Windsor, we had kind of gone over that. So they were saying that the average student in Windsor spends between $450 and $650 on a furnished room rental close to the university or college. I think now prices are actually even going up. This is actually information that they had collected from last year. So I think now with, more students coming into the city and more people wanting, high end, and, not super high end, just something that's, nice, it's clean, it's dry, it's kind of modern, just somewhere that they can stay, they can study, they can have a great time there. So yeah, and there's also, to add to our rental, we can provide complimentary toilet paper and paper towel. And this is just something small, that I think maybe a lot of landlords might overlook. But if we can make them feel comfortable, then they'll want to come back. And that's what we really want, is return students that are going to treat the home with respect.
Yeah.
So that's our profit projections. Okay. We're also going to be placing a $400 utility cap on the home as well, just to really regulate things and make sure that our profits really stay where we want them to be.
Okay. So Morgan, explain what a utility cap is.
Sure. So a utilities cap, we're saying a utilities cap of $400 per month. So that basically says that we're fine with paying the utilities. These are going to be all-inclusive units, which means that includes the hydro, the heat, the water, hot water rental tank, et cetera, right? So we're going to be saying it's all-inclusive, but we don't want to be taken advantage of, right? So we're going to say that it's going to be capped at $400 per month. And then if there is an overage, then that's going to be split by 6. And then that's going to be added to the next month of rent for the students, right? I think $400 is seems very fair for a house. This is only a bungalow, right? So to heat a whole house like that, if you're not being excessive, $400 is totally fine, I would say. And yeah, and obviously this needs to be completely outlined in the rental agreement with any students that we have, just to make sure that they're on the same page as us, because that's only fair. So yeah, so that's kind of what a utilities cap is, just making sure that it's fair on both sides.
Okay, so the utilities would include the hydro, the gas, the Wi-Fi or cable?
Yeah, so we're going to include Wi-Fi as well. That's not necessarily utilities though. So we would have an internet plan, and that's a little bit separate. Yeah, so utilities, okay, like you were saying, yeah, is hydro, gas, water, and hot water rental tank.
And hot water rental. Okay, and the hot water rental tank. So yeah, then would the furnace rental be a part of that?
No, so that's going to be different.
Different, okay. Yeah. And okay, so you're talking about the water is in there as well. Okay, perfect.
Hopefully they have a furnace that they own. Actually, I'm not, furnace rentals aren't so popular, I don't find, in Windsor. So yeah, hopefully we'll get away with them owning it.
Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, that would be on us.
Okay.
Right. And so, yeah, so I broke down the monthly expenses, and I was able to have some good insight into these expenses just because I have a house running in Windsor right now. So I kind of took from my 6-bedroom rental and pasted it on here. So the mortgage payment of $765. So this is for a property. We had it listed at, I think, $160. So the down payment would be about $32,000. So you're looking at a mortgage of $128,000. So, and I did 8% for this one. You know, that's being a little bit conservative, but that gives us $765 of a payment per month. And so then property taxes, we put them at $90 per month. Okay. Insurance was $100 per month, which is basically what I'm paying now. So utilities capped at $400 per month. We know it's going to be $400 per month or less. Hot water tank rental, I added that separately. It could be up to debate. It would really depend on what it said in the agreement with the roommates, whether that's added or not. And then water should be included as well. So that's, yeah, we're going to have to subtract that from the 400. Internet packages are actually pretty cheap in Windsor. So for one that would be good for 6 people, high speed, I'm paying $60 right now. So there's that. I included landscaping, which is seasonal. Usually when it's raking the leaves, or especially when it's shoveling the driveway, just so that we don't get any violations from the city. That's pretty important. Toilet paper and paper towel, $40, which is pretty conservative. Monthly maid service. This is something else that we can offer them so that students get excited about living in our houses, right? We almost want to build a brand and say, you know, when you come here, it's kind of like a, you know, like a Holiday Inn, right? You know that you're going to come there, you're going to get great service, you're going to be happy, your room's going to be clean, it's going to be all the same. And I think that's what a lot of people, they feel comfortable with. Yeah. So yeah, so maid service is important. Also just to keep track of the unit, to make sure it's not out of control. You don't want to get it back after a year and it's an absolute nightmare. So yes, that's our kind of little maid service and our way of keeping tabs on the unit. Yeah. So yeah, so totally monthly expenses, I put $1,680. That can actually be plus or minus. And it's good we added some extra costs because that kind of gives us a little bit of cushion.
Right.
So yeah, so $1,680, and I put a star estimated average monthly costs. Okay. And then so we're taking the $3,600 in revenue off of that. There's also other ways to make revenue. If the property has a garage on site, we could rent that out for probably around $100 conservatively. And also if we put coin laundry in the basement, we can expect probably around maybe $10 or $15 per room per month off of that as well. So that offsets some of maybe even the utilities costs.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, it's funny because when I saw the monthly maid service, I was thinking, okay, those are for students who are sort of like the mama's child and still wants that like daily pampering from the, you know, from their parents, right?
Yeah. So yeah. And that's just for the common area. So that might seem kind of low, $60 per month, but that's just, you know, tidying up the common areas, making sure everything's in order, not actually cleaning their rooms.
Or folding their laundry.
Yeah, that's something that they'll have to contract on their own. Okay. Yeah, so you know what, if you want, Huong, we can go up and I'll just give a little bit of insight into the Windsor area.
Okay. So now if somebody's looking at this map, where would, so this is the particular house that we were talking about right now is located here. Where's the university or the college located?
So it's actually, the college is kind of on the right side, right over there. Yeah, so kind of in that area there.
Okay.
And then the university is a little bit more south.
South over here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's like all right in that area. This is a property, and and a lot of these properties that are right near there are all walking distance, which is really important because a lot of students, they're not driving, or maybe it takes a little while to get to know the bus routes and everything. So if we can have something that's walking distance, that's also really, really an appeal to students, I would say.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So you wanted me to go up to...
Sure, yeah. So just as a market overview for Windsor, so I know maybe Windsor, Ontario hasn't been a super desirable place for a lot of people to invest. They maybe see it as kind of, maybe low income or maybe low class or something, which can be risky to invest in, right? Because you want to make sure you have really great tenants.
Mm-hmm.
So with Windsor, as a student rental is really great because right now, not only are they putting $5.7 billion into a bridge from Windsor into Detroit, which is going to have a lot more people coming in. So that means more money flowing into the city, which means they can reinvest it, which is good. They're also putting a brand new $73 million sports complex at the University of Windsor. So this is going to bring a lot of student athletes in from all across Canada, really, and maybe even some from the US, which would be great for Windsor. And so when they come here, they obviously want to have a great place, somewhere that's comfortable. They might be on a scholarship, so they might not actually have to worry about finding something for $450. They could be okay with something for $600 or $650.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sports complex. And then they're also putting in $15 million to expand the visual arts and music programs. They're doing that. They also have a really exciting program where it's the first in Canada that allows you to become a lawyer in both the States and Canada. It prepares you to take the bar in both. So this is really great, really high quality, intelligent students that are going to be coming through Windsor. And I'm really excited about it. These are the exact kind of people that we want to target for our student rental.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
So now the property that we're looking at here, we had said roughly around 160.
Yes.
How many of these properties actually exist in Windsor? Like how easy would it be to form a joint venture and set up one of these 6-bedroom student rentals?
I think, it really depends on how hard you want to work on it, right? There's the first way, which is just going on realtor.ca and finding what's available and kind of going from there, right? And then putting in an offer, making sure to get in first before other people outbid us. So there's that. And then there's also getting really proactive and, even just kind of flyering the neighborhood or even doing some cold calls, calling agents to see if they have any pocket listings that might be coming up. It really depends on how motivated you are.
Yes.
These are just some strategies that I would use personally, because personally I love getting an off-market deal, right? I think a lot of people do. So if you can call agents that or if you can do some flyering or just see what's out there, maybe check sites like Kijiji and stuff like that, see if there's anyone selling privately. Yeah, it depends on how much effort that you put into it, but I think there is a way to get homes without doing all that, just off realtor.ca. You just have to have time on your side, which is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing that I liked about this particular property is that it had that capability to go up to 6 rooms, right?
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other houses, you're sort of maxed at 3 rooms or maxed at 4 rooms. And that really puts a cap on how much cash flow you can get.
And that really wouldn't work for this model, because we really want to get that cash flow going, like I said, just so that if a partner does want to buy out another partner, then they do have that cash flow that came in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. So now you mentioned, so we did talk about the couple of strategies that we can implement while we're owning the property. Now, what are some of the exit strategies that are possible for partner A and partner B?
So I would say that there's 3 strategies available. I would say that at the end of the 3 years, you could make a decision that, we're happy with the appreciation we're seeing in the Windsor market. We're happy with the cash flow that we received. We'd like to sell after 3 years, take our funds and either go separate ways or go into a different venture together, whatever we decide. But at the end of the 3 years, we're going to sell it. So that's the first one. And then the second one would be one of the partners buying each other out. So one of the partners would have to come up with the investment that the other person had put in and buy them out for that amount. so that they're happy, and then that one person becomes the sole owner. Keep in mind that if partner A buys out partner B, that means that partner B would now have to either have partner A hold the mortgage, which can be a little bit complicated, or they would have to get their own mortgage. So they have to remember that they have to be in the position to get a mortgage on the property in order to be bought out, unless they'll have to have the mortgage held by partner B. And then the third strategy is if you say, you know, this is going great, let's keep this open-ended and let's keep it going. Maybe we'll stay in for another 5 years. I love having the cash flow and I'm loving the equity I'm building. Let's hold on to it. So that's the third strategy.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. So now, this particular property is gone, right? But we did talk about the option to, you know, that there's lots of properties in Windsor to potentially look into and potentially set this up, right? Which is a great idea.
This is a great example, but yeah, there's definitely other properties very similar to this. This is, you know, an average property, I would say, in the market, in the Windsor area, in the student area, available for sale. I would say somewhere between, you know, if we're lucky, maybe around 140. And then I would say if we're being a little bit more bold, maybe around 180 or maybe 200,000. We might have to think about putting more money down and arranging something like that to keep our costs low. But yeah, that's open for discussion as well.
Okay, fantastic. So what is the best way for people to get in touch with you, Morgan?
Yeah, you know what? So I have on this document at the bottom of every page, I believe. We just go down a little bit. Maybe not of every page. Yeah, okay, there we go. Not on the bottom of the title, but yeah, so that's me, Morgan Byrne, Remax Hallmark Bayview, and that's my phone number.
Okay, so one of the things that I'll do as well is I will insert an email so that people can contact you that way as well.
Yeah, I can reach by email or by my direct line. I'm always open to talk investments. Topics.
Yeah. Well, I know every time we get on the phone, we end up talking about real estate, and we're on the phone for like a good chunk of time. Like it's always longer than anticipated, right?
I love the passion, Huong. I love it.
All right. Awesome. So that was all the questions that I had in terms of the JV stuff. Now, we do have about 4 minutes left. So how about if we do a hot seat thing? Okay, so I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions at you, and if you just sort of answer them, there's only going to be like 3 or 4 hot seat questions. Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, go.
Okay, all right, what is your favorite color?
Purple. Color of royalty.
All right, if you could travel anywhere in the world and money was not an issue, where would it be?
You know what? I really want to do Argentina. I have a friend that's from there, and she's told me so many amazing stories there. I need to go. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait.
All right. If you had to choose one superpower to have, what would that be?
To be invisible. I think I could really work with that. Yeah. I won't let you know why, but yeah, secretly be invisible.
Oh my goodness. You know what, when I first met you, your personality just jumps right out. Like for me for you to be invisible would be like impossible, because you're like
very quiet. Yes.
You're so energetic and you're just so alive, and it's just like your personality just takes over, right? And so
well, I'm scared of heights, so flying wouldn't work for me. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, being invisible, I'll try that out. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Now, if you could retire and do anything you wanted, what would that be?
Well, you know what? I see myself with a family in the near future. You know, I want to be married and have kids. So if I could retire, I'm hoping to retire maybe in my 30s or maybe at the beginning of my 40s. Yeah, you know, it'd be great, you know, just to spend time with family and get to really be there. I think that's the most important thing about investing, right? Is the freedom and getting to spend time with family and just getting to, you know, not have your time tied up with working. So yeah, so that's my dream for retiring, is just to get to spend time with family and have fun and travel.
Yeah. Well, you know what, for me, being retired is so overrated. Like I've retired from engineering, and so now I jumped into real estate full time. And so even though I say I'm retired from engineering, I'm still not retired because I'm still working.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'll be retired. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. So, all right, fantastic. So I will, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So I will put the contact information so that anybody who wants to contact you about buying properties in Windsor and in Toronto as well, because you don't just focus in Windsor, like, so basically Southern Ontario. You know, I would like I definitely recommend you to a lot of my clients. So yeah.
Thank you. I have a great listing in St. Catharines right now, which is a duplex. So 3 stories, making over $3,000 in cash flow a month with a 7% cap rate. So if anyone's interested in taking something on a little bit bigger, or maybe they want to do a solo project, that could be great for them as well.
Okay. All right. So you know what? Let's attach that onto the little description.
Sure.
So like like a 1-pager, if you have it, I'll get that from you separately, and then I'll attach it on. Okay.
Yeah,
And that way they'll have that information. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Huong.
You're welcome. Thanks, Morgan. Have an awesome day.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.